Let's take a look at the calibration. So if you're using this on a seed tender, or let's say a platform scale, shoot scale, you name it, there's going to be some identifying markers on the bars. If you have that information, great, but a lot of times you won't, or it's hard to go underneath the scale and look for it. So what we can do is, if you tell us the brand or the application, basically the make and model of the piece of equipment that it's going on, brand of weigh bars, we can get it pretty close. There's also a formula that you can use to calibrate. It's taking the actual weight divided by the incorrect weight times the cal number. So let's go into our calibration so we can break that down. So if we tap on device, you look in there, there's a sensitivity of 0.4. Leave that alone, leave that always at 0.4, and then you can make the calibration process very simple. Another thing to leave alone is the calibration factor. Leave that alone, and then the only thing that needs to be changed is the rated capacity. But when you use the 0.4 method, the 0.4 method allows you to use this as a cal number. So think in terms of a calibration number that you put into your scale head. This changes everything, so it makes it simple. So if you look at your bars, and if you have a sensitivity on the bars, you could go through and do that and try to figure out your rated capacity, but a lot of times that information is missing. So I say go with this method and look at this chart that we have on our app, or we'd provide this information for you either through the phone or through our app, or on a website called librahelp.com. So if you take a look at the display here, we'll go ahead and, excuse me, not the display, but we need to go to our app. And from our app, I'll take you back to the introduction page. If you tap on the More button, you can go to, well, I'll need to bring that up so that way you can see it. Calibrate test is where you want to go. Here's the explanation about why we use the 0.4 method and how it simplifies the process. So if you have any questions on that, you can look here. That information is provided. And then if you look, let's say if I have a 3-bar Weightronics grain cart, and I look, well, I have the resistor on mine, or I don't think I have the resistor. If you have the box that has the 5-pin plugs on it, you're going to have the resistor. If it's a box where you have to take the individual wires and use a spring-loaded setup with that junction box where the individual wires actually feed into little terminals, then you don't have the resistor, and you can use the 0.4 method with 27,680, so 27,680, you could put that in for your cal number or rated capacity in this scenario, and you'd be calibrated. You could fine tune it from there by using the formula. Take the actual weight divided by the incorrect weight times that cal number or rated capacity. So you'd take it times that 27,680. So if it ends up being 1.01 where you're 1% high, or if you're, say you're 3% low, you would be, excuse me, if you were high, you'd be at 0.99. If you were light, you'd be at 1.01. So just think in terms of, if I need to go up, I'm going to be greater than 1. If I need to go down, I'm going to be less than 1, based off your calibration. So the calibration process is fairly simple. We do have an instruction sheet in our packets that explain this. It's a little worksheet to go through it. You can watch this video and get a good sense, or give us a call. But I will have the calibration formula available for you at the bottom of the screen. So in continuation with the calibration, so you see the formula is on the bottom of the screen. So I go to the device tab, and let's say that I do have a 3-bar grain cart without the resistor, and I'll go through and change this to 27,680, and I'll save the calibration from there. So that's the number that I would start out with, and then you can go and get a certified scale reading, or if you have a scale that's very close, very accurate, that is legitimate to go off of, but I would recommend going off of a certified scale to get your calibrations within that 1% or so range. So if you start out with this number, and then if you need to increase or decrease this based on the percentages, you're usually going to be within 1% or so of this number if it is correct out of the gate. And so this number might change into 28,000 in some, or maybe 26,000 in some. But generally you're going to be within that range. It should be relatively close. It shouldn't be twice as big of a number or half that number. It should be within the ballpark if you are correct out of the gate. If you're completely off and you do the formula for calibration, it will get you in the right direction every time. So think in terms of that, and then you can certainly verify that you are accurate and then fine tune it from there. The biggest thing here is to save this calibration, is to go save, and now I'm calibrated, and then you can go and verify your weights based off of this. So at the beginning of the day, if you're going to do calibrations, just make sure that you go into the device and zero your scale out, and then put a load on there. And begin the process. Push start and unload onto a truck, for example, in this scenario. So I'm going grain cart with this scenario, of course. And I'll hit save. And then I'll make sure. Now I had a little bit of residual there from last time, so we had a little bit of carryover, so you want to make sure that this is cleared out here. So if I go through again, we'll make sure that we get it. And actually what I should do is I'll go back down here. And I'll go into my settings, zero scale, zero that out. And then I'm going to use my identifier here. Okay, so we'll get a load on there. Okay, and then I'll go start, and I'll look at my identifier and use that as a reference point to verify my weight. Try to get as much as possible. Okay, I'll hit save, and then I'll take that load to a certified scale and make sure that it reads out at 30,300 or so. So 30,291 would be the exact, and then verify based off of that point for your calibration.